Thank you very much, Belinda. Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited about today as we're discussing the topic on clinching the deal. I'm connected with you guys here on this platform, but I'd also like to introduce the people that will be watching this on YouTube at a later stage. So I hope everyone that's connected here today is going to thoroughly enjoy this. But I've got a question for you guys. You know, I've done a lot of these presentations to know that after a while, it can become very monotonous for the end user. What do I mean? This is the fourth webinar, and I'm sure through other companies, you have also connected with regards other trainings that you have done online. And what is very, very important for you to understand is that if you're not taking the information that you're learning within these webinars that you're constantly joining in and literally going back into the optometric practices as a team to connect and say, you know what, guys, what did you learn from the presentation? What did you learn from the presentation that you did not know before? And look at ways as a team in which you can urgently and immediately and practically apply the information that you are getting from these webinars. Then all of this is very futile. So my question to you guys is that when we get to the 9th webinar, are you going to be in a position whereby you have gone through this entire series of training but not tried to implement a single strategy? And all this information that we are constantly sharing is going to be so difficult to apply at a later stage when you don't within the first week of you hearing the information, having that sense of urgency to apply the information, so that if you're struggling while the information is still fresh, you can get in touch with either Vision Straight or BBGR and say, hi guys, Obi said this, or the training we learned the following, and when we try and apply it, this is what we were encountering as a challenge, so that we can engage it, discuss it, and look at different ways in which it can be applicable within your community that you are operating in. So if you don't do that, all of this then becomes very useless. So please, I would like to hear from you guys in the comment section that have you tried to apply the service delivery topic, the innovative communication skills that we talked about, or the consumer analytics, and what feedback do you guys have from trying to apply or implement those strategies and solutions that we discussed? And as we're getting started, I would love to hear who are the optometrists. If you're an optometrist joining us today, please do say hi in the chat box. Let's make this very practical so that if I say something that is contrary to what you are busy training the staff within the practice, then please do share with us within the comment section so that we can engage it and all learn from one another. That is very, very important. This is not a one-way training session whereby I'm going on and on and on. It's actually a two-way communication platform that we are all learning as much as we possibly can from one another. I usually do this at the end of the presentation, but today I decided to do it at the start of the presentation. And so the presentation topics that we're going to be discussing quickly would be the plan of action that you need when it comes to clinching the deal, followed by the sales process that's involved in clinching the deal. Thirdly, team preparation, because anything that you do, if it does not involve or center around the role that the team plays, then it's going to be very worthless, basically, because it will not have the result that it intended to have. Next, we will look at product approach tactics. Fifth, digital media approach. And lastly, it will be the sales strategies that you need to adequately implement within the practice. And so, just a quick reference guide. As I said, I usually do this at the end of the presentation, but today I'm excited that I'm doing this at the beginning. We're launching our Vision Straight's marketing guide for the eye care industry next month. Literally, the book is almost done with printing, and I'm super excited. This book was written in conjunction with Dr. Darrell Glover from the United States, and all the marketing strategies that you can possibly think of that are applicable to healthcare practices, eye care practices, are discussed in this book. And we feature various industry leaders from all over the world who share their views, their approach to marketing with regards eye care. And so I'm super excited. There's the email address for you to get in touch with us should you be interested in this book, and I can send you the book summary that you can see exactly what the book is all about. And do connect with us online on the different social media platforms as Vision Straight, or connect with us through our individual personal profile under Obi Malope, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are putting out fantastic, great content on the YouTube channel for you guys to be able to use within your respective optometric eye care practices. So yeah, let's get started. The screen that you're looking at here is, by the way, before I get started, welcome to those optometrists. Super excited to see the diversity of people connecting with us from various regions across the country. So I'm super excited about that. And so yeah, let's get right into it. The screen that you have in front of you, it's a graph that shows the population, the global population, in relation to the amount of mobile users, internet users, active social media users, as well as those people who are utilizing or accessing social media via their mobiles. As you can see, in South Africa, 50% of the population use the internet. And by the way, this was before COVID-19. So these are stats from 2019 that you are looking at in your screen. With everyone working from home, with the amount of engagement taking place online, on various social media platforms, on various digital platforms, these numbers that you are looking at here have significantly increased. I'm quite certain of that. The number one visited website across all different websites is Google. Number two, YouTube. 3, Facebook. 7, it's Twitter. Instagram is 10. And I think Amazon was 11 the last time these stats were released. So the question then I have for you guys is that, with everyone being digitally orientated or all online, how many deals is your optometric practice closing or securing or clinching online? Or are you still doing things that you were doing 2 to 3 years ago? So that's something that I just want to leave with you as we get going with the presentation. That how many deals are you closing online? How many people are you selling spectacles to on a day-to-day basis online? How many people are ordering various products and solutions from you online? Because you have also changed the way your practice was approaching the eye care industry or approaching the consumer. So it's very, very important for you to understand that you cannot be a practice that is waiting to have people that are going to come into your practice, because no one is in a rush or in a hurry to come to your optometric practice. So it's very, very important that you find innovative ways in which you can continually connect, communicate, and still do business with various consumers online. That is very, very important. All right, so let's go on. With that being said, what is it then that your business urgently needs to do in navigating this new business landscape that we are finding ourselves in? Number one, you need to acquire new skills that go beyond traditional selling techniques. Very important. 2, learn new ways that enable you to take advantage of being online. It's very, very important that your business migrates to becoming an online offering as well, and not limited to the traditional way of doing things. Next, evolve from relying on outdated marketing initiatives and promotional activities. Very, very important that you get that right. Next, and finally, you have to get to a point whereby as a business, you are unconventional, you get uncomfortable in how you approach the consumer and be willing to do things that are outside of the box. Very, very important that these 4 components, you thoroughly understand that your business cannot operate as it was the past couple of years. You need to step out of your comfort zone. Go out of your way to discover new ways, new innovative ways that can still make you not only survive this terrible pandemic, but most importantly, thrive. And that is a critical component that is required for your optometric businesses. I find it very strange, for example, that people will come to your optometric practice, but you're not engaging them in relation to that which they need the most. eyewear is just as important as all the other needs. So please, don't get in this rut or this way of doing things whereby you're only seeing people based on emergencies. A person might have an eye emergency that they come to your practice with, right? But once you have provided that management solution to that eyewear problem, you need to have an understanding that, wait a minute, the clinical component has been addressed. Now the retail component is what is important now. Then you operate on the premises of retail. You're operating on the premises of you are selling something. You need to get out of this mentality that you're only providing that essential service in terms of eye care, but not realizing that, wait a minute, this person that I'm dealing with came here because they had an eye problem. But they need to leave here with all the management solutions that are applicable and are available to address their need. And that would have to do with them having multiple pairs of spectacles, them leaving with spectacles, sunglasses, contact lenses, solutions that, or eyewear solution or pharmaceutical products that they will need to address the eye-related problems. So you need to think holistically when you're managing a consumer and not limiting your interaction to just that specific need that they have. You need to make sure that that person has an understanding that, wait a minute, I might have come to the optometric practice with this particular need, but they need to leave with all the possible available management solutions that are applicable to the problem that they came in with. All right, so I hope that was very clear with regards how you need to approach the business side of things. I see here we've got some comments here. Belinda,
yes.
Was my pace, I just wanted to get an understanding of my pace. Was my pace too fast or too slow, or was it my sound, is it all right?
No, it's perfect. And the comments are all just everyone very excited saying good morning.
Oh, super.
As soon as there's a question, I will interrupt you.
Yes, that's what I wanted to mention. That
Yes, I think I forgot to mention it. Please, I did post it. It's an interactive webinar. If you want to ask a question, please do so in the chat box and I will interrupt Obi. He welcomes it.
Thank you very, very much. All right, so let's start with the first one. The plan of action that you need for clinching the deal. This is where we get started, right? What is your plan of action involving, and what are the components that are relevant for your plan of action? Firstly, digital and social selling strategies. You need to have clear strategies in place that you have come together as a team to discuss and conclude upon, to say, guys, online, this is what we're doing. When people are coming, engaging us on our social media platforms, on our website, what strategies do we have in place that are leading to us closing the deal online? A lot of optometric practices have these amazing activities that they are doing online, but they have not discussed it amongst themselves as a team to say, guys, this is how we go about the selling process with regards our digital and social media strategies. Very, very important that you have to understand that before COVID-19, for example, you are not as active online as you perhaps should be right now. So how has your practice restructured itself to still be appealing to those consumers who are fearful of coming to the mall, coming to the shopping center so that they can get to your optometric practice? How are you communicating with them in a manner in which they can still get the products and the solutions and the services that they need from your business? So as a team, first question that I have for you is, do you have clear digital and social selling strategies in place that you have decided upon as a team? Next, your consumer approach. This is very, very important. This one-size-fits-all approach that many optometric practices have always had throughout the years is no longer applicable. Every consumer today requires to be treated as the most important individual to walk into your optometric practice. And so there has to be an individualized approach that moves beyond sanitation, checking the temperature, because what I've noticed in the few practices that I have sort of like been interacting with, is that they've got all these individualized protocols that are in place to how they treat a particular patient who has come to the practice for their appointment. But they don't personalize the sales component of it. They don't personalize the product selection. They don't personalize the communication around selling techniques that are applicable to that particular consumer. So you have trained, as a practice, for example, you have trained your team in terms of the COVID-19 protocols that you are following, but you have not upgraded yourself in relation to, wait a minute, how do I continue providing an excellent product knowledge or product discussion with regards this particular individual in front of me, with regards selling frames? Am I engaging this person with regards how many masks do they have? If COVID-19 is going to last for the next 3 years, it means everywhere people are going to be going, they're going to be having masks on. When I'm communicating with a patient, for example, who's going to be wearing glasses for the first time, or that customer who is wearing glasses for the third time, when I'm communicating with them, am I asking them the question that, sir, ma'am, with regards to your work, are you at home all the time? Are you doing a lot of online activity? Do you wear your mask a lot outdoors in terms of work-related activities? How many masks do you have? Is it just this one pair of masks that you have? All those questions are applicable in relation to the product selection, the frame selection that that person is going to need. So you have to think beyond the protocol. You still have to sell. We're not running an NGO here or an NPO as an optometric practice, which brings us to our third one, sales targets, right? We are in the business, we are in business, guys. We're not just providing eye care solutions. You are running a business. Part of running a business is to ensure that your sales are up, your sales are growing, despite the restrictions that we are all having to deal with. I'll give you an example. In a pharmaceutical environment, which I used to work in, they used to have a screen as you enter. There were screens on the hallways. There were screens in the cafeteria area. And on those screens, they used to put the different departments or divisions and what the sales targets were versus what is actually being achieved by that particular division. And every day, if you walk in through the aisles, the corridors, or in the cafeteria, you will actually see what the target is for the division for that month, or for the year, for the month, and where you are as a division in relation to that target. I find it very strange that as an optometric team, sales targets and numbers are not discussed within the optometric practice. And so a question that I have for you guys, for especially the optometric staff, do the optometrists, please do comment in the comment section, do the optometrists or business owners discuss the finances with you guys as a team? Do they go and sit down with you guys and say, guys, our target for this month is X amount. For us to get to that amount, this is what we need to be doing as a team. This is how many people we need to be seeing. This is how many pairs of spectacles we need to sell, and so forth. Please do indicate if sales targets are discussed with you guys or not. Next, communication tactics and strategies. This goes back to that innovative communication webinar or training that we did. What is the language of the practice? Do you guys have that sales approach with every single consumer that comes to the optometric practice? And if, for example, you're an optometric practice that you, as the optometrist, have been the one who does all the dispensing and choosing of products and so forth, you are limiting the capacity that the practice has with regards communicating products, choosing frames, selecting eyewear, discussing various management solutions. So the more people in the practice that are competent in being able to be confident and in discussing various management solutions to the consumer, the more opportunity the practice has in clinching more deals, because it's not limited to that one individual. So for example, with the restrictions that we are finding ourselves in, people are working on schedules, right? You find that only certain people are at the practice at certain times. So if only 1 or 2 people out of a practice of 7 people are the ones who are competent when it comes to communicating product selection and all those type of things, you are limiting the capacity of the practice in relation to what it can actually do. Next, retail dynamics. Understand that as much as you are an optometric practice, consumers are exactly that. They are consumers. Patients are consumers. Customers are consumers. All these people buy things on a day-to-day basis. Why is it that when it comes to eye care or optometry, we don't think of them in relation to the fact that they are consumers? Here's the thing when it comes to clinching the deal. You have to think of every single person that comes to your practice as that person that needs more than one pair of glasses. I personally have 11 pairs of spectacles. Why? Right now I'm growing an afro. When I've got an afro, it means certain frames are not going to be applicable for me. When I'm wearing a formal attire, certain frames will not go with me. When I've got short hair, certain frames will not go with me. When I've got whatever that I'm doing, certain frames will not go and certain frames will go. Same applies with your consumers. You have to have that approach with every single one of them, that they need multiple pairs of spectacles. Hear me right. I'm not saying that you guys are not giving them multiple pairs of spectacles. But the problem that you are doing is that you have a buy one, get one free special that you're constantly running in the practice. And that is limiting your capacity. How, you may ask, Obi? Very, very simple. With regards to the buy one, get one special that you are constantly running, what tends to happen is the following. The main pair gets all the goods, all the coats, the material features, all the products or coatings and details of the frame and the glasses or the spectacle lenses that that person needs. And the second pair becomes a by the way option, right? And because it's a by the way option, the consumer uses it as the option that they will need in case the main pair something goes wrong with it. What we mean by retail dynamics is that you need to position both pairs as the pairs that the person needs, and both pairs need to have the necessary coatings. So even if they don't afford to have both pairs with all the coatings necessary that they need for their visual problem, you still have to discuss it with them. You still need to make them aware that this is what you're going to see with this pair. This is your visual experience that you should expect with this pair. When you're wearing this pair, which doesn't have it, your visual experience will be as follows. So if you don't adequately discuss those things with the consumer, you're limiting your opportunity for them to say, wait a minute, when I'm wearing this or at my working environment, this is the pair that I prefer. During leisure activities, this is the pair that I prefer. During sporting activities, this is the pair that I need, and so forth. That means within the 2-year cycle, your consumers should actually be at the point where they're wearing 3 to 4 pairs of glasses at a minimum in a cycle of their eyewear, from the time they came for their eye examination to the time they come again. You need to get to that thinking mentality that you have to make sure that they are leaving with 3 to 4 pairs of spectacles, or they are buying on more regular intervals. So don't be limiting your communication to every 2 years, even though the medical aid applies for every 2 years. Let me ask you a question. When people buy clothes, do they use their medical aid? No. When people buy anything else, do they use their medical aid? No. So why do you limit eyewear to medical aid? Because I hear this excuse all the time. Obi, everyone, well, they can't afford to buy glasses, but they can afford to buy other things? Come on, guys. Let's get real here. Let's get serious. Operate as a retailer, even though you're providing top-notch primary eye care services. Once you have solved the eyewear problem, you're moving into the retail space. That's how you need to operate. Next, loyalty building. This is very, very important that you are constantly establishing loyalty with regards to your consumer. And the question that I would have for you is, the places that you keep going to, how did they ensure that they get you as a loyal consumer at that restaurant, at that shopping center, wherever you keep going and returning to go give your hard-earned money to? Why do you keep going there? If you can answer that question for yourself, it makes it easier then for your practice to then say, wait a minute, guys, how do we get this person to be loyal to us? That's the question that you need to answer. I'll move quickly here. Understanding of consumer purchasing decisions. Remember, consumer purchasing decisions have to do with value, usage and functionality, convenience, customization. Very, very important. Next, consumer needs to be engaged and not given sales pitches. The quickest and easiest way to do so is by delivering on that which you have promised the consumer. When you communicate with the consumer, you're communicating with them in terms of how the solution that you are recommending or advising them is going to change their life. It's going to impact how they see. It's going to transform how they function within their working environment or wherever environment that they're in. So you need to communicate the solution in relation to how you are solving that problem. And brand positioning, always deliver on what you are promising the consumer. Deliver, deliver, deliver. Very, very important. All right, so I've put here 5 key areas in which your business can be able to navigate from survival mode to thriving mode. The first one here, which is business offering improvements. The question that I have here is, what components of your business offering can you improve tremendously that the consumer will notice and be interested in? For example, the operational timeframes. What I mean by that is how long it takes for them to get services and solutions from you. Technological advancements, communication platforms, service delivery enhancements, subscription-based solutions. A lot of people have gone online. A lot of people are comfortable with purchasing products, services online. Yet, your optometric practice is not evolving to offer solutions, products that are online based. So the question there is, your business offering, how can you continually improve on it to ensure that you can still close deals online? Very important. Next, distinctively unique proposition. The question here is, what key areas of your business are distinctively unique to you that your competition is not even aware of? So in your community that you are serving, there are other optometric practices, correct? My question to you is that, what can you start doing as a practice, or what can you start offering as a practice that your competitor is not in a position to offer? Because that's how you can continually up your game. Get to the level at which you are attracting new business. Because the mistake that you can make as a practice is not having awareness of why various consumers keep coming to your business. And if you don't have an awareness of why they keep coming to your business, once they stop coming to your business, you're not going to have an awareness of, wait a minute, in 2015, we used to see 200 people per month. Now we are in 2020 and we are only seeing 80 people in a month. And you're going to make the mistake of thinking it was because of COVID-19, not realizing that 2016, that number dropped, 2017, that number dropped, 2018, that number dropped, and so forth. And now you get to 2020 and you start thinking that, wait a minute, perhaps we're not seeing as many people as we are because of COVID-19. Once things get back to normal, people will start coming back again. Not realizing that your consumers started leaving you 5 years ago. And slowly but surely, that number has been decreasing and you are not aware of. And you know why they're leaving? Is because the practice down the road is now having a distinctively unique value proposition that they are now offering your consumers that used to come to your practice, and the consumer is now going to them. That's a very, very important question that you have to ask yourself is, what am I offering my consumers that my competitor is not, that can ensure that not only am I retaining my existing consumers, but I'm seeing new ones that I was not seeing before. Next, maintaining peak performance levels. Very, very important that training and development, online learning, exactly what we're doing today, that's how you maintain peak performance levels. Now, I'll go back to the question that I posed to you guys, or the statement that I posed to you guys earlier on, when I said, what do you go back and start implementing within your practice to ensure that you are actually maintaining peak performance levels and not just learning about ways in which you can maintain peak performance levels? You have to go back in your environment and implement that which you are being trained upon. And the last one, how do you surpass or outperform industry norms? Is it through social media approach, e-commerce platforms, brand activation campaigns, customizations, business model adaptation? Very, very important that you constantly reassess, is our business model still relevant to the needs of our community today? Because guess what? If your business model is outdated, the consumer is going to leave and go to a brand that speaks directly to what they need. So very, very important that you have a clear understanding of this. Very, very critical. So next, the sales process. I hope everyone is still good. I hope I'm not moving too fast, because I do know I've got a tendency of going too quickly, but it's because we're going through a lot of information that I don't want you guys to be missing out on. Next, the sales process. All right, I've put here multiple challenges that the practice needs to overcome. And for example, the first one here, I'll just go randomly through different ones and not necessarily go in any particular order. But affordability. The question here is, or the challenge that the practice will encounter that you guys need to overcome is as follows. Remember that consumers will always spend their hard-earned money on anything that speaks to what they need and want the most. So they might say to you they don't afford, but be rest assured, consumers have the money to spend on that which they feel is important to them. So if someone comes to your optometric practice, you need to constantly punt on the problem that they have, how it's affecting them in their daily lives, and how the solution that you are recommending is going to change their life in a manner in which they can see that, wait a minute, if I don't go with what this optometric practice is recommending, this is what I'll be losing. But if I go with what they're recommending, this is what I will be gaining. So the issue of affordability gets quickly addressed when you approach it that way. The medical insurance, medical aid stuff, will the medical insurance be enough to cover their medical needs? I made the example earlier on that you need to not be limiting yourself to medical aid. So you need to get to a point as a practice where you are taking out your consumer out of that medical aid mentality. Because as much as the thing about optometry that separates us from other healthcare components is that the other ones are limited to clinical components. Whereas with eyecare, the advantage is that we have a academic component, a clinical component, but a business component. Whereas the other healthcare services, they don't necessarily require all three of those components to function adequately and efficiently or cohesively with each other at the same time. We have that opportunity. So always have your retail cap on, always have your business cap on when you are talking to someone discussing the medical aid benefits. Always get them to a point where they see that the problem is your medical aid. So don't limit the discussions with consumers to medical aid options benefits that they have. Get them to a point where you're communicating the solution in relation to the problem, not communicating the solution in relation to what they can afford. Don't make that mistake of limiting those discussions to what they can afford pertaining to their medical insurance. You need to communicate with them in relation to what they need that is specific to their problem. Next, the product. Why should the consumer upgrade their current management solution? We said this the last time at the innovative communication topic. We said with every single consumer, even if they come into you for the 10th time or come into your practice for the second time, never stop talking the upgrade component. If the consumer is wearing a particular BBGR lens that has a particular coating and they've been having that for the last 3-4 years, when they come, always talk the upgrade, always communicate the upgrade, always demonstrate how the upgrade is going to benefit them, always communicate how the upgrade that you're recommending is going to provide them with a better visual experience than the current management the current management product or solution that they currently have. Never stop talking about that. And so the other one says access. Can you make it easy for people to do business with you post COVID-19? How easy is it for people to get access to the products and the solutions that you're recommending? I've seen right now with a lot of optometric practices is that they make it very difficult for consumers to do business with them during this time. So you need to change that mentality or change that approach. And so other ones is preconceived ideas. You need to dispel that notion. Remember, certain people, when they come to your practice, they already have that thing of, if I go to the optometrist, whether I need glasses or not, they're going to give me a pair of glasses. And already they come to your practice with that negative attitude. So you need to showcase your expertise in a manner in which you are dealing with those preconceived ideas. How do you go about doing that? The way you're communicating, the way you're discussing solutions, the way you're engaging them, asking them questions, informing them, educating them. All those components play a critical component with regards dispelling those preconceived notions or ideas that they might have. Next, past experiences. Here's a very, very important rule that you need to understand and always remember. When someone comes to your optometric practice for the very first time, having worn glasses from another practice, the most important question that you should be asking that individual is, sir, ma'am, how was your experience with your previous optometrist? The problem that you went to them with, do you feel that they solved that problem? Anything bad or negative that you experienced from that previous optometric experience, basically. That information allows you to get clarity with regards what not to do and what you should be doing. And that's how you convert that person from them just being that person who comes for the first time to someone who's going to connect with your business and stay with you for years. Same applies with someone who has been at your practice for the last 4 times and they come into your practice, but 4 years ago, they were seen by different staff members who are no longer employed in the practice. Always ask this important question to consumers. Ma'am, sir, last time you were here, is there anything that we did that we feel that we could have done better? Very, very important, especially now. And the rest is service excellence. We had this discussion already. afford not to be excellent when it comes to service delivery, then technology. Guys, if you're not going to be innovative, having those technological advancements in the practice, consumers are going to go to practices that are constantly growing and having those innovative advancements in their practices. And challenges that are very, very important, your target audience. Always remember, guys, when you are communicating with an individual, which buying generation do they belong to? You need to have clear understanding of how a particular buying generation or generation type responds or prefers to be communicated with, and communicate with them in that manner. Always understand that, are there any barriers of communication that might exist between myself and this individual? Am I communicating with this particular individual in a manner in which it's relevant and applicable to them? And then you do that. That's how you get closer to clinching the deal. And obviously, platforms to use for communication. We highlighted this before as well. All right, next, team preparation. The key areas of the business that the whole team needs to be prepared on, very, very important. Sales targets. Everyone needs to have an awareness of their numbers. Very, very important. Next, tracking sales activities. You need to keep track of where the wins are. Which areas or components of your business are you guys seeing growth in as compared to the other ones? And you need to keep track that, wait a minute, guys, our practice is seeing more presbyopic patients of late. Why is this? How come? And if that is the case, that you're seeing more presbyopic patients, the opportunities that come with that is that there are different management solutions that enhance the visual experience of a presbyopic patient. So if that is the case, are we communicating more effectively with these presbyopic patients? Are we probing them as much as we possibly can with regards to their visual environment, such that we are then able to communicate better with regards to the products that we are recommending for them with regards to their visual environment? So it's very important that you have that thorough understanding of what activities pertaining to your sales increasing are more relevant in your practice, and how do you keep track of that on a regular basis. Specific plans, for example, if you're running a particular promotion, let there be consistency. If you're running a promotion online, the communication that you're doing on your social media versus on your website versus on the emailing list that you're doing, it has to be consistent, versus the visual environment that the practice is in. What you put as displays, what you put as signage when a person comes into your practice, let it be all about that particular campaign or promotion that you are running. All your activities need to be directed as that, so that you are getting as much opportunity as you possibly can to ensure that that promotion speaks to the relevant audience that you guys are having, and that it will have the necessary results. Sales training. When I was in a pharmaceutical environment, every month there was some form of training that took place pertaining to the products, pertaining to the way we are communicating with various eye care professionals, pertaining to different components of the business. So I encourage you guys, sales training has to be something that is of the most high priority within the optometric practice, because if you're not having that as a priority, you're not going to get to a point at which sales becomes a norm within the practice, whereby everyone is comfortable, everyone is competent and confident with regards sales when they're communicating with various consumers. There's always room for improvement. A lot of times you've got those staff members who have been in optometric practices for 10, 15 years. They know it all. I don't mean to be rude, but they know it all, right? But here's the shocker. When it comes to sales, when it comes to clinching the deals, when it comes to upgrading the particular consumer from product A to product B, they are very poor at that. And all that 15 years experience that they have in the eye care practice, it's limited to administrative related work. and not adding any sort of value, none whatsoever, to the sales component of the business. So if you are in a practice where you have been there for longer than 5 years, question that I have for you is, how is your sales? How much of the target in the practice are you contributing to pertaining to the sales? Very, very important. Current norms in optometric practices are limited to administrative, HR related protocols and so forth. How much training takes place with regards to sales? This is not an NPO, it is a business. Make sure that the sales training, the sales component is as important as all the other key areas. And obviously the other ones is then communication and messaging, self-management skills, sales skills development, and referrals and follow-ups. Very, very important that you ask for the referrals and you're following up. Here's how you should be following up with regards consumers, right? Make sure that you know what the initial problem was that the consumer came to the problem with, so that when you're following up, you are asking them that the product that you have recommended or the solution that you have recommended, how is the problem now being solved? A month later, 6 weeks later, it's 3 months later. How is their visual experience now that they've been using the product that you recommended for them in relation to how they used to have their visual environment before? So that's how you follow up. You don't just send a message to say, hi, just checking if everything is still fine with your glasses. What is that? That makes absolutely no sense. You have to customize how you're following up. When people are satisfied, it will lead to them being more likely to recommend or refer your practice to their friends, their colleagues, their family. And so take home message with regards to the training that needs to be done by the practice is actions by satisfied customers. They become practice advocates. So they will speak about your practice wherever they are. Next, the quickest way to increase sales is deliver on what is above their expectations. What should you directly ask for? Referrals. Always ask people that are happy for referrals. Very, very important. Like today, I've been fighting with Belinda, for example, that I asked her for a referral. I said, Belinda, you are happy with the work that BBGR and Vision Straight is doing, right? She said yes. Then I said, Belinda, would you mind writing me a referral, a commercial reference that I can use on my website? That's how you ask it. You be direct. Don't be afraid of asking those customers that are happy with the service that they got from you for a referral, a reference, a testimony that you can put up on your website that you can follow up on. Next, what feedback do you need from consumers? You need feedback pertaining to how you can improve the services and the solutions that you are rendering. Next, where are the opportunities for the practice to stand out? Every activity matters. Always remember that. So don't have this by the way approach to anything that you do in the practice. Even when you are sanitizing people's hands, let it not be as a by the way. Put energy into it. Show people that you are expectant. I went to a practice the other day and I walked in. I didn't see the sanitizer thing by the door. So I just walked in, right? And the lady who was sitting at the front, her immediate words were, "Sir," she didn't actually say sir, she said, "Please sanitize your hands." That was her first words that came out of her mouth. Not a hello, welcome to the practice, sir, may you please sanitize your hands beforehand. She didn't approach me. And after I went to the practice, I went to a postnet. And when I got to the postnet, the lady at the postnet, she said, "Morning, sir. Please don't forget to sanitize your hands. We don't want any COVID-19 problems." But he made fun, he made light of it, versus the practice experience that I had just gotten 30 minutes earlier was horrible. She just said, "Sanitize your hands, sir." So it's those small little things that every activity that you do matters in the practice. From the minute the person walks in to the time they leave, from the moment someone picks up the phone and calls the practice, every activity matters. Next, the impact of a great reputation. Guys, this will go a long way. When you're building or doing any activity, always remember this, that you are creating a reputation for your business in that consumer's mind. And that is what is going to set your practice apart. And that comes in handy when they talk about your business. Next, brand loyalty benefits. Well, it's all about the consumer experience. So every time someone walks into your practice, what is the consumer experience that they're going to get? That influences the loyalty that is going to be established. Next, the buy-in of the team. To all the optometrists who are on the joining us here, if you don't have the buy-in of the team, they can do all the training that you send them to. They can do all these activities that you get them on. But if they don't believe in you as the leader, and if they don't believe in that which you are doing or trying to do, they're not going to bring their A game to the business. And that's a fact. Lastly, planning ahead. Certain actions that you are doing now, you will see the benefits of them a year from now. So you might be saying, my patients, the area that I'm serving in or operating in, people here are not online savvy. They're not literally using digital media. A year from now, you'll see the benefits of why you had to get onto a digital platform. Practices that started having e-commerce platforms a year ago, they're starting to reap the benefits of having those e-commerce platforms today. And that's where the key is. Some activities will only benefit you at a later stage. You just need to know which ones. And that's basically the take-home message for that section. Quickly on this one, product approach tactics. And what we have written here is, number one, everyone needs multiple pairs of spectacles. Very, very important. Number two, I put myself here with a picture with Hilton. He's an optometrist. Every single service, solution, product, any activity of Vision Street, whether it be a CPD, whether it be a book, whether it be a website, whatever it is, Hilton gets that business from us. Why? He believes in us. He believes in the product. He believes that we will deliver on that which we say we'll deliver. So your customers that keep coming to your practice, or your clients that keep coming to your practice, you need to get them to a point at which they're not just buying that one pair of spectacles that you're recommending. You need to get to a point whereby after 6 months and you're running a sunglasses promotion, you can get in touch with them and say, hey, we're running this promotion. And because you have been with us for a longer period, and because of the loyalty that you have shown us, we would love to have you come and try out our sunglasses at a discounted rate just for you. Don't wait for people 2 years later. Tell them when new products are coming in. Someone comes in today, they are wearing they came in a year ago wearing the previous transitions lens. BBGR now has a new transitions lens. Why are you waiting for 2021 for that person to have an upgrade on their transitions lens? Why not picking up the phone, getting in touch with them, coming in to say, hey, you love your transitions lenses, right? Do you know that they come in various style colors? So why don't come in and try out various look at the different options that are available from the lens that you are currently wearing. Why are you waiting for them to come at a later stage? Why are you not reaching out to say, hey, this is what we're doing? So for example, when we have a new book out, Hilton becomes the first person to read the book long before the book will be out in public. Why? It's a loyal customer. It's a loyal client. So I'm not waiting for him to place the order for the new book. I'm going to send them the new book before the book even goes out. That's how you establish that loyalty with your clients. Next, customer retention. This is the third picture here where I'm doing training. A perfect example. Before lockdown, I used to run workshops like that, right? Come COVID-19, I need to evolve and say, I can't be in front of people, but what can I do to still add value to the Eyecare practices? Hence the BBGR and Vision Street partnership, which we're doing right now, that we can still continue to add that value. And now what does this mean? That means all the people that were doing training with us before, they are now in a position to have free training on a more regular basis. And what does that do? It means that I'm being consistent. It does not come across as a once-off training. It means it's repeat business for me going forward, that I become the business of choice for these staff training solutions. So the question that I have for you guys then is, before COVID-19, you did business in a particular manner. Now it's COVID-19 and post-COVID-19. What have you changed with regards to your business offering that is still ensuring that you are relevant to the consumers that you are providing services and products for? That's a very, very important question that you need to answer. Here, with the Crizal Prevention, it's all about product knowledge. Remember, your patients, customers, clients don't care about Crizal Prevention. What is that? That makes absolutely no sense. So you need to know the clinical features, benefits, the product drawbacks, the product advantages, how the person is going to experience the product, that is the Crizal Prevention, and communicate that with them in an effective manner that you possibly can, because that is what patients want the most. They want to know, okay, how is this going to benefit me? How is this going to solve my problem? So you need to be communicating the product in relation to the problem it's solving. And then product communication post, that's basically, you're not communicating transitions. You're communicating the impact that the transitions is going to have on that person's visual environment. Here, the picture here with the gentleman reading there, always remember, it's what does the consumer want? What does the consumer want when they come for eye care related needs? So you need to be communicating in relation to what they need and want. So communicate how the product is going to influence their lifestyle. The only way you can know that is when you have probed them enough about their lifestyle. The more information you know about their lifestyle, the easier it becomes for you to then to communicate about the solutions that will solve their problems. Next, I put up the CPD here because it's always the value factor. And for us, the CPD is our value factor because people need CPD points that they submit to the HPCSA. And so the value that we add is the CPD platform. Is it speaking to the different audiences? Yes. So the question that I will have for you guys as an optometry practice is, what is our value factor? What distinguishes our business, our practice, in relation to the value that we add to the community that we serve? What makes us stand out from a value factor? With us is the CPD platform. With you guys, you know, if you're just in the business of selling eyewear, if you're just in the business of giving spectacles to people, you are limiting the value factor, or you don't even have an awareness for the value factor. And then your display area, this is the gentleman here, display area here, we're making reference to is the environment structured in a manner in which people want to be doing business with you guys. And the last one here, think like a sales leader. What I mean by that, always have your sales cap on when you are talking products to people, when you are communicating management solutions. Always think like a salesperson. You think like a salesperson. When you're buying a car, they're not going to sell you the bare minimum. They're going to sell you all the hoo-ha around the car. Why are you limiting yourself to ensuring that the consumer leaves with the bare minimum? They need to be leaving with the best of what you have to offer. So think like a salesperson. And quickly here, take home message when it comes to the product approach. Become a product specialist. So when you're communicating, it needs to be clear that you are a specialist. Next, consumers have plenty of money. Always remember that. They've got loads of money. So your thing about it is that they need to get to a point where they're spending their money on eyewear. So that's why it's very, very important for you to have that approach, that this person would not have come here if they did not need that which we are providing them as a solution or as a service. So get them to buy. Next, get rid of that 2-year cycle for consumers to purchase. We made reference of that already. Frame selecting and purchasing. You need to be confident and comfortable in how you're selecting frames and getting people from just buying that 1 or 2 pairs to them buying multiple pairs. Very, very important. Next, fashion styling solutions for the customer. Are you educating them on styling, makeup and eyewear and glasses, makeup and makeup at night versus makeup during the day, versus eyewear at night versus eyewear during the day? All of that. Are you constantly educating them on the different styling options and solutions pertaining to that. Next, discover your high value clients very quick. The example with Hilton, you guys have those Hiltons. Who are your Hiltons that you can be able to really build with your business and make sure that your Hiltons are buying from you every 6 months? Who are your Hiltons? I couldn't have made that example as better as I did. And next, complacency is what holds the practice back. So if you're complacent, growth will continually decline. Always remember that. Is there any form of complacency that exists within the practice at the current moment? And lastly, sales are a very big part of eye care management. Going back to the first point, always have your sales cap on. We are not running an NPO, people. We are in sales, providing critical primary eye care services to the communities that we are operating in. But that does not mean that our consumers should not be having 5 to 6 pairs of glasses, multiple pairs of sunglasses, contact lenses, and so forth. That's our job. Sales, sales, sales. All right. And this one here quickly, we're almost done. It is imperative that you clinch deals via digital media. And so when we do the social media topic, we'll make reference to this. But your digital approach has to be authentic, relevant, customized to the generation type, be in line with consumer purchasing decisions, market segment specific, consumer-centric, revenue growth orientated, and unique to what will add the most amount of value to your business and take your business to the next level. So basically, I only put the slide here to help you remember that you need to be closing deals online. And a lot of your guys' practices are not online. You've got outdated websites. You've got websites that are not e-commerce based where you can consistently clinch deals. If you can get 10,000 rands of orders from your website, that's 10,000 rands of orders that you are not getting beforehand. Why are you not getting those orders online? And so why should you have a digital advertising campaigns pertaining to your products that can help you clinch the deal? Very, very important to grow your brand online on different platforms. We're almost done. Be at the top of the list when people search for the products and services you render. You have targeted display of your brand to potential consumers. Next, to display the experience the consumer will get from engaging with your brand. So here's the thing. You need to be online because before people come to your practice, they're going to see your practice online. So are you communicating with your practice, with your consumers digitally in a manner that leads to them coming to your actual practice? That's how it works. And next, you want to increase your return on investment on various online activities. So it's not enough to just be on Facebook, Instagram, but not have clear return on investment on that. So you have to have also advertising campaigns that are associated with that, and be able to target your potential customers based on their geographic location, age, gender, job title, lifestyle, and even their behavior. And so that's basically why you should have digital advertising campaigns to establish long-term, impactful, and meaningful relationships with your clients. The example again, the Hilton in business trade. Who is the Hilton in your optometric practice? And that's basically why you should have digital advertising campaigns in relation to digital media. And so the sales strategies will close off here quickly. The welcoming atmosphere should be very, very important, followed by you educating the consumer, followed by you exceeding their expectations, followed by you convincing them and persuading them of how the solution that you're recommending is going to impact their lives and is going to solve the problem that they have. Next, you have to deliver on what you promised on. And lastly, always follow up. If you don't follow up, you're not aware of how the solution that you recommended impacted that person at the end of the day. And once you know how it impacted them, you are in a better position to then know where can you improve, what can you do better. And if all of those boxes are checked, then you're in a position to say, oh, sir, you are happy. Can we get a referral? That's how you get new business. You're not going to wait for things to happen. You need to be proactive and go and get the business. So the sales strategy approach is as simple as this. You have to know and clearly understand the different sales strategies that are applicable. And so that's basically the approach that we would recommend for you guys. Be very intentional with regards every activity that you do in the practice pertaining to clinching the deal. And the conclusion, takeaway message from what I've shared with you today: what do you do from here onwards? Was this just another webinar that you tick off the box and you get a certificate? And what has changed in your practice since the first webinar? Thirdly, what are you struggling with still? If you're still struggling with various components of what we have already discussed, please do get in touch with either BBGR or Vision Straight so that we can help you. And stop making the COVID-19 excuse. If you keep making that COVID-19 excuse, which is, we're not doing this because of COVID-19. The numbers have gotten down because of COVID-19. If the numbers have gone down in your practice because of COVID-19, those patients still need eyewear. That simply means that they have stopped coming to your practice and they are now going to a different practice. Stop making the COVID-19 excuse. Next, always be careful of only limiting your strategies to cost-saving strategies versus profit-making opportunities. Those are the two types of practices. Those who are looking for opportunities and those who are constantly looking at where can we save, where can we stop doing certain things. And be careful that that which you are looking at as a cost-saving strategy is not limiting the growth potential of your business. Next, make sure that you've got a practice culture that is relevant to what the business wants to achieve. And build a high-performance team. So if you're not having a high-performance team, all of these things that we are constantly sharing with you guys are pretty much useless because no one is going to take up that initiative and implement them within the practice. And get help urgently. BBGR, Vision Straight, we're here to help. Whatever that you need, get in touch with us. We're here to help. And that's basically it, everyone, for today. It was a lot of information. I jam-packed everything. But yeah, I hope I was clear. Belinda, that's it.